Hello, EduMagicians. Welcome to the EduMagic podcast with your host, Dr. Sam Fessich. Dr. Sam is a professor of education, author of EduMagic, and a pumpkin spice latte fan. This podcast is designed for pre-service teachers. Remember, friends, teaching doesn't begin at graduation, but during that first class at 8 a.m. Let's get this party started.
I'm Dr. Sheldon L. Akins from the Leading Equity Podcast and a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
All right, friends, welcome back to another episode of the EduMagic Podcast. This is episode 44. Head on over to sfessich.com/44, and there you're going to see a great freebie that goes with this episode. Enjoy. Hey, EduMagicians, welcome to episode 44. In today's solo episode, I'm going to share some tips to help you make the most out of your class experience that has a field component or an observation component embedded within it. What I mean by this is by focusing in on classes where you go out into the classroom and work with real students. We know that these courses are critical when it comes to teacher training. The most important thing for you to do is to get out there and confirm in your heart that teaching is where you want to be. Ashlyn Hunker, pre-service teacher, shares the best way to approach your college career is to put not only your whole mind, but your whole heart into your learning. And the same goes for field experiences. Make the most of your field work. Take every opportunity that you can to interact with students, learn from co-teachers, learn from administrators, learn from mentor teachers. It's really easy to see the benefits of the courses that have components such as observation and fieldwork, because there you can easily apply what you're learning in your college course right into the classroom directly. And sometimes these courses, happen later in your development, maybe as a junior or as a senior. But guys, here's the secret. Are you ready? You don't have to wait for those classes to get involved in the classroom. So what do I mean by that? You don't have to wait until your junior year to go out and be teaching with children. Get out there as early as possible. Your freshman year, if you can take time during a break, use that time to observe kids in classrooms in which you may want to teach one day. If you're a pre-K to 4 major, try to get experiences in a variety of classrooms. So sum it all up. You don't have to wait until you have a course that has a field or an observation component embedded within it to get out there and work with children. As long as you have your clearances, you can go out there and work with children right away. I recommend during your freshman year, get out there, observe in classes related to your field or your area that you want to concentrate in or you want to get your certification in. By having these early learning experiences, guys, you're able to have a glimpse into what it's like to be a teacher. Maybe you can teach a mini lesson. Maybe you can read a story to students. Maybe you can run an activity. All these experiences can really add up and confirm in your heart and in your mind that, yes, teaching is for me. I want to be an educator of excellence. Or, you know what? I don't think teaching is my jam, and that's okay. And maybe you need to explore it a little bit more. Maybe you enjoy working with children, but not as a teacher role. You might want to explore a passion of yours that might be music therapy or speech therapy, social work. There's lots of different ways that you can impact children besides being a teacher. So if you're finding, I really like being with kids, but not as a teacher, try to explore some other roles that are related to education. Or if going out during the regular semester is not an option for you, maybe you want to try a summer job. There's tons of summer jobs out there that have elements of teaching embedded within them, such as a Sunday school teacher or a vacation Bible school teacher, a camp counselor, whether it's a day camp, an overnight camp, a residential camp, things like that where you can interact with kids. Maybe you want to be a nanny for a family, or you can tutor for students after school, or if they're doing extended school year. Maybe you can be an assistant coach. For those of you who are interested in more teaching type roles, maybe you can apply to be a classroom aide or a personal care aide for a student during extended school year during the summer months. Or you can volunteer. There's lots of volunteer opportunities at local libraries and community centers where they service children. The list goes on, but I think you get the picture. And think about ways that you can try out teaching in low risk environments and see if it's the right fit for you. So now that we've talked about some ways that you can get involved with children, get involved with students, maybe as a summer job or during the fall semester, let's talk about some ways you can approach a class that does have a field experience embedded within it or attached to it. My first piece of advice is to set up your field experience early. Make contacts with schools and districts that you can get to early in the semester. So set up that conversation early with a district principal or with an administrator. You might have to go through the chain of command in order to get your observation or field work in, but set it up early. Friends, you do not, I repeat, you do not want to be waiting until the last few weeks of school to line up this field experience. My next piece of advice is to get outside of your comfort zone. Don't choose a field experience for the sake of convenience for you. Try something that's really going to stretch you as an educator. So if I were to go back and do it all again, I would try to have at least one experience in a different grade level, which I were to be certified. So at the time, whenever I went to school, I was certified pre-K to 6 elementary and pre-K to 12 special education. I would really try hard to have a field experience in one of those grade levels throughout my time at college. My third piece of advice when it comes to approaching a class with a field experience is to go in with a plan. Don't just go in there to sit in the back and write notes. You don't want to be a creeper. So what I mean by that is don't go into that classroom without an idea of what you need to accomplish first. So oftentimes professors will provide you with questions or things to be looking for during a field experience. Have those written down, have those ready to go. So whenever you're in your field experience, you can just start documenting notes, taking pictures with permissions, and documenting what you're seeing and what you're observing. Make sure you have that list available to you, whether it's on your computer or on a sheet of paper. I would ask the cooperating teacher first if you're allowed to bring your computer in and take notes. If not, a sheet of paper is just fine, and document as much as you can as you go. Also, if you can, my next piece of advice is to get involved with students. Be sure to ask the cooperating teacher first and see what you can do when it comes to working with students. Jordan Pastilli adds on, capitalize on this opportunity, capitalize on any opportunity you have to engage with learners. And obviously discuss this with the co-op first. And I agree. I think if you can get involved with students, the more you can get involved with students, the better. That way you're getting a little bit of experience, you're observing a little bit, and you can have a great experience. My next piece of advice is to engage with different teachers. So if you can get into a school where you can observe different teachers, you're able to get exposed to different types of methods and pedagogies, and you can see different types of classroom management techniques, ed tech tools, methods, lots of different things. So you can add to your repertoire of knowledge. So you're not just seeing one teacher's way of doing things, you're seeing a variety of teachers teaching content, managing the classroom, engaging with students. So for example, if you're in a school that has 3 third grade teachers, see if you could observe all 3 third grade teachers so you can see a little bit, get a little taste for different methods. In the same vein of that kind of, if you can, try to observe a specialist. For example, if you can get in or observe or interview a speech therapist, a special education teacher, a code teacher, art teacher, reading specialist, you get the gist, you get the idea. You're able to see how a school can come together to really support all of those students. So I really recommend trying to go into your observation or into your field and try to see how other educators and other specialists work with students. Jesse Bielitz adds to this, make an effort to look for things you have never seen before and gain a wider perspective. It can be really easy to passively observe in the back and not get much out of it, but you have to make a conscious effort to make these experiences valuable. And I totally agree. So one way to do that, observe a variety of teachers, observe a variety of specialists. So you're able to get in there and have a meaningful experience. My next piece of advice is to ask questions. Do not be afraid to ask your cooperating teacher or mentor teacher any questions you have related to content, methods, technology use, or strategies that they use in their lesson. Ask about procedures and techniques that they follow. And whenever you're creating your notes or writing out your notes for your field experience, I suggest making a spot on your notes, I like to draw a little table somewhere, and then you can write down all of your questions so you don't forget anything. And you can ask them later, maybe at lunch or during your prep period, you can ask your questions to the cooperating teacher. Next, I recommend when it comes to documenting all of your field experiences, so when you're in education classes, you'll have lots of field experiences, and that is fantastic. Sometimes it can get a little overwhelming when it comes to thinking about, oh my gosh, I had so many experiences. What the heck did I do in them? Well, if you head on over to sfessage.com/44, I have a little template that you can take and use so you can keep track of the number of hours you've been in the field and what you learned. So you can include on either a written piece of paper, I recommend typing it out so you can put it in a digital portfolio. And if you want more information about digital portfolios, check out episode 20. There you'll find a great list of pages to have in your portfolio, and this can go really nicely and blend beautifully into a digital portfolio. Anywho, I get off track. Let's keep going here. So in order to document all of your field experiences, I recommend having a little table that has the date of the field experiences or date, time in and time out so you can track how long you were there, the school district and where they were located, the name of the specific school, the name of the teacher in which you worked with, a description of the classroom, and top 3 takeaways from that field experience. That way you can go back when it's time to start writing your resume or applying to jobs. You can pull from that list of field experiences, whether it was an observation or as actual teaching time with students. You can pull from that and remember, oh yeah, and you can be like, oh yeah, I went to Mrs. Hamill's classroom and I really like the way she used student voice and choice when selecting songs for the chorus to sing, whatever it might be. Next, kind of following up with that piece there when it comes to documenting everything, document your field experiences in your portfolio. Make sure you head on over to sfessich.com/20. You can see a nice description there of what a portfolio is, what pages to include, and all that stuff. But when you're documenting your field experiences in your portfolio, include a description of the experience, what you learned, and if you can, take a picture or two of you teaching if you had a teaching experience in that field. Make sure that you have the appropriate permissions in order to have pictures of students in your digital work. All right, friends, we're coming to an end here. Trust me, friends, you don't want to get all the way to your senior year and go through student teaching and decide that teaching is not your jam. Do yourself a favor, get into the classroom early and often. We know that a course with a field component really allows you to see theory in practice. You can directly connect and apply what you're learning in your coursework and what you're observing and teaching in the classroom. So friends, go all in. Make the time you have with the students valuable and meaningful for you and for your students. I wish you the best of luck in your field work and your observations. If you have any questions, hit me up over on Instagram and Twitter at sfessich and let me know what your advice is for classes that have a field experience embedded within it. All right, friends, you've heard me talk about AAEE in the past. Well, they just came out with an educator candidate member portal for free. And let me share a little bit what this portal can do for you. So we know that finding the right job can be challenging, and that's why AAEE is here to help. Once you create a free account, if you go to aaee.org, you'll see that you can sign up for a free educator candidate account. And once you have your account set up, you can find within the portal interview tips and prep. There's top 10 interview questions asked by school administrators. You're going to want to check that out. You're also going to see resume building tips and tricks. It has a great job fair calendar, and you can see when the next job fair is. And there's so much more. All right, friends, that is all I have for you today. I hope you have a fantastic day and you have the edgy magic within you.
And there you have it, Edumagicians. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with your friends. For more Edumagic, check out sfessich.com and follow Dr. Sam on Twitter and Instagram at sfessich. Until next time, you have the Edumagic within you.